Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am the Tarot Dragon, and on my channel we do pick a card tarot readings whenever I feel called to do them. There is no schedule as of right now, but this is my second video I'm filming this week, so maybe things will pick up. But in today's reading, we are going to be doing a reading all about who you need to release. This is not a specifically romantic reading. This is open to any kind of connection. And this is Spirit's perspective as to who you need to release so that you can live a life that is of your highest good. So we have 3 piles to choose from today. We have pile 1 with this piece of amethyst. With pile 2, we have this piece of fire quartz. And pile 3 is this piece of lapis lazuli. So take a moment, or as long as you need to pick whichever pile you feel the most drawn to. It's totally fine to be drawn to more than one, just please be sure to use your discernment when it comes to deciphering which messages are for you. My rule of thumb is if you get a gut feeling about something, or you get like chills or shivers, then it's probably your message. If you're questioning it and you're feeling like, you know what, I don't know if this is for me, or if you feel very like distracted during the reading, I find that those are indications that it's not for you. So take that as you will. You know yourself better than I do, and take whichever messages resonate the most. So once you pick your pile, you can scroll down to the description box where I will have all the timestamps listed. And when you click one of those links, I will see you in your reading. Bye. Hi friends, if you chose this card here and this piece of amethyst, then this is going to be your reading on who you need to release. So we are actually going to take a look at this card last. It is kind of like an advice card, as well as just like a final message that Spirit wants to share with you. I'm considering this card to be like a pretty important one in this reading, and I wanted it to be the card that we finish off with. So I'm going to set that aside for now. And we're going to first start by looking at this connection. We're going to do this reading by looking at the connection in general, like what the energy is within this connection. We're going to look at you, and then we're going to look at this person. And then we're going to use the tarot to see like why you need to release them, getting more information, as well as how you can actually release them, because I figure it'll be different for each connection. And that is also information that I wanted to give you in this reading, not just telling you who you need to release, but how you can do that. So let's start by seeing the general energy within this connection. So for that, we have hostilities, and we also have clear the way with sage. Okay, so, ooh, should we do all of it at once? Yeah, why not? So for you, for pile 1, you're being represented by, oh my, wow, oh. All right, that's not an actual card. This is a card in this deck that you can use to kind of fill in a different archetype if you want to make your own, but that's not fair. We're going to give you an archetype. So Spirit, how would pile 1 be represented in this reading? Can we get a card for pile 1, please? Within this connection, how is their, oh my lord, how is their energy being represented? I will say though, every time that card comes out, where it's not really, like it's kind of like a blank card, it only comes out sometimes, because there's a lot of cards here, you know? And I always, in my head, I kind of feel like I wonder if the person that it came out for kind of doesn't have a strong sense of self. Like maybe they are a person who often changes how they act, how they talk, to please whoever they're around at that moment. That could be something that you deal with in this connection. I mean, just with hostilities and clear the way, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe to minimize arguments or tension in the connection, you could have sort of pretended to be somebody that you're not. So for your energy, we have the dilettante. The light attributes are delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. And for the shadow, we have pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. And then you also have Star Mother, how can you mother yourself? And you have victim consciousness. And for your person that you need to release, we have, oh, wow, that's wild. We have the Mother. With light attributes, we have nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. And for the shadow, we have smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. Oh, my. And I said, wow, because you have the Star Mother here. It's interesting. And then for your person, they have align your life, what is not aligned or needs to change. And finally, for them, we have temptation. Okay. So for numbers, we have a 19, which reduces to a 10. We have a 12, which reduces to a 3. And then we have 26, which reduces to an 8. So 10, 3, and 8, if those numbers are of any significance for you. Okay. So I want to start with this connection as a whole, because I feel like this energy is the most straightforward and it is quite clear. The message is quite clear here. And that is that I feel like this connection is one where both of you could trigger each other often, or you could kind of, oh, there's not enough space. I'm going to move this black tourmaline. I'm going to talk while I'm doing this, but this is the connection where there's definitely tension here. There are arguments often, there's fighting, there's negativity here. There could even be a desire from one person or another to not have the other person succeed. And honestly, I feel like it's your person. I feel like your person might have a fear of you becoming independent. They might have a fear of you going your separate way, being able to take care of yourself, being able to give yourself what you need. And the reason I say that is because, yes, it's in their shadow attribute, but also for you, you have this card, the Star Mother, and victim consciousness, okay? One thing that you're learning in this lifetime, especially at this time, is how you can take care of yourself, how you can be independent, but not in a way that cuts you off from your nurturing, loving nature, because all of us have that nurturing part to us, but sometimes we forget that we can give ourselves that energy and we look for it externally. And that could be what's happening here, you know? And this person doesn't have to be your actual mother, but they could be. It also could simply, actually, I will say it does feel like that. This does feel like a mother-child relationship, but it also could be, this could be somebody that you view as a parental figure, a feminine parental figure, someone that you look up to who has taken care of you or nurtured you in some way. And I feel like what is happening is that I feel like this connection has either naturally come to an end, or it's clear that things need to separate for a while. But I feel like your person in particular is holding on to this connection. And I feel like the reason why is because I almost feel like they feel like part of their identity is attached to you. Because notice how in this mother card, it doesn't just show the mother, it shows the mother and child. And I wonder if they feel some sort of attachment to you, and that if you walk away from them, they will have like a hole left inside their heart. And what's interesting is I'm getting this message that this person might actually, like, when they're talking to you and stuff, they might make it seem like they don't need you, or, you know, they try to make it seem like you're the one who needs them. But in reality, I think that there is a deeper wound here they have, where they feel like if you leave, they will be all alone. And I feel like that's something that's also holding your person back, because they're growing, they are evolving into another person just like you are, and they do need to make changes in their external life to reflect the changes that are happening internally. And I feel like this temptation card to me is showing up as them wanting to revert to this attachment that they had to you and to this connection. But I feel like deep down in their soul, they know that it's best to take some time apart, let you roam free and pursue the things that you want to pursue, and that they need to be able to be secure on their own. And for you, because the reason why I think Spirit's asking for you to let this person go too is because I feel like at this time there isn't any good coming from this connection. I feel like in order for you two to grow and heal from the wounds of this connection, you have to take time apart. Sometimes people can grow together, and I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying you have to go no contact with this person. We'll see what happens in the tarot. But right now, it just seems like, with Clear the Way here, and also with the Align Your Life card, I feel like the connection with you two, it seems like there's a lot of hostility here, a lot of like tension, and it's difficult to it's difficult, I think, to heal from this while you're constantly around each other. And I feel like, yeah. And I want to talk about you too. So for you, I think it's interesting that you have the dilettante. And it's actually really interesting. Now I'm looking back. When I first pulled your cards, two came out, but Spirit told me to take the top one. But the top one was the one that was like completely blank, which is really random. Wait, let me read this a little bit closer. I wonder if there's something that alludes to why that could be the case. Delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits, pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. Interesting. I just get this vibe that you're an artist, truthfully. But I also sense cooking could be a significant thing for you. You could be a cook or like to cook a lot. That's kind of random, but yeah, for you, I think you're a really loving person. And honestly, I think your person is too. I don't think that they're like mean. Well, they could be mean, but I think that they do have a lot of love for you. It's just, I feel like it's gotten to this point where there is a bit of a dependency here. And I think for you, you're learning how you can nurture yourself, love yourself, and heal yourself. But I feel like it's a difficult lesson for you because you could have a wound around abandonment. I think your person definitely does, but you could too, where I feel like maybe for a long time you felt like you needed somebody to guide you. You needed somebody to reassure you and to kind of be really close to you while you're making big decisions. And I think that was really obvious to your person, but again, I think your person put up a front that they are really independent and that they know more than you, but I think deep down they know that they're learning from you and they need you just as much as you believe you need them. But I think neither perspective is healthy in the sense that I think it's disempowering both of you. And I think what's happening here is I think you are breaking out of this victim consciousness. It's just really difficult, and I think you're in the process of it. But I feel like you're, and it makes sense why Spirit is saying to release this person, because I feel like with every bit of progress you make, this person gets triggered, and they want to reel you back in. And they don't like that you're doing things without them. They don't like that you are exploring different talents, exploring different gifts that you have, and just trying things out. Maybe this person had a plan for you as well. They could have had an idea of where your life should have led, but as you're discovering yourself, you're realizing that, or rediscovering, right? As you're looking inward and seeing what it is that really lights you up, I feel like this person maybe gets upset. Maybe they feel like they sacrificed stuff for you, or they did so much for you and you owe them something. But what's interesting is this temptation card. It's like they know what they're doing is not right. I think part of them knows that when they try to hold you back or keep you close to them, that it's keeping them stuck as well. But at the same time, it's like they can't help but do it. This is really interesting. But what's clear here is that, this sage card, I mean, sage is a pretty common herb because it's really excellent for clearing negative energy and stagnant energy. And I feel like this is what needs to be cleared. It's this connection. Or at least, honestly, I think it's the connection. Because when I did this reading, I didn't just do it with the intention of like, oh, who should you release? I specifically asked, like, I'm like, Spirit, okay, pile one, for example, who does pile one need to release? Who is getting in the way of pile one's growth and healing? And this person came through. So yeah, I honestly feel like that's all I have for this part of it. I mean, it just seems like you're both holding each other back unintentionally. Well, I think maybe for you unintentionally, because I do think that this person has some sort of hold over you, and it might be hard for you to release them. But at the same time, you are learning that you don't need this person to show you how to love yourself, how to mother yourself, how to nurture yourself. You can do that on your own. I think it's just taking time before you get to that point. I also think it's interesting that we have a 3 here, because the number 3 can sometimes be associated with, well, not just necessarily the feminine, but specifically like the archetype, or not the archetype, but the feminine archetype, but also Hecate and her 3 forms, the mother, maiden, and the crone. Oh my gosh, the mother. And crone, not crow. If it was a crow, that'd be crazy, but no, crone with an N and an E at the end. But anyway, yeah, it just seems like there's healing and discovery that's happening with you, and is triggering your person, and your person wants to keep you stuck, and it's causing tension, it's causing anger, and I don't think that they want to see you reach a level of independence where you no longer feel tied to them. They don't want to see that happen. So I'm gonna take a sip of my drink. And we're gonna get into the tarot now. And I think for the tarot, we're mostly just going to see how you can release this person. But I'm also going to see if there's any... First, I'm going to get like maybe 2 cards to see what other information Spirit has to give about the connection and why you need to release them. So Spirit, what else about this connection between pile 1 and this mother person? Why do they need to release this person from your perspective? Spirit, what else? We have the 4 of Cups. What else with this connection? Why does this collective need to release this person, Spirit? Why else? What else? So with this 4 of... Oh, okay. We have the 4 of Cups, the King of Cups. Okay, let's get one more. What else, Spirit? Why does this collective need to release this person? The 4 of Swords. Wow, 2 4s. Okay. Back of the deck is the 6 of Swords, which I think is quite clear. Yeah. I do think, and this King of Cups, truthfully, it reminds me of this place that you're about to step into, that you're moving toward. You are reaching, I think you're in a really interesting chapter in your life where I think part of the focus is your emotional health and your connection to yourself emotionally and how you take care of yourself emotionally. And I feel like both of these cards on the outside, though, are cards that to me are cards of slowing down, cards of taking a second to chill out, right? The 4 of Cups, though, is a kind of interesting card to have here because it talks about oh my gosh, my brain went blank. The 4 of Cups is a card that talks about dissatisfaction with life. It's a card of apathy, loneliness, sometimes confusion. It's a really not so fun energy to be in. But truthfully, what this makes me feel like is I keep feeling like you're being numbed a little bit. Maybe... Okay, I don't know who this is for, because this doesn't feel like it's for all of you. But for some of you, like, you might feel this like kind of desire to just stay in this connection because you feel like you can numb it out enough to the point where it doesn't bother you that much. But at the same time, I think you recognize that you need space from this person. You need time away from this person because the 6 of Swords, like you're getting ready to, or you're in the middle of making shifts in your life. You're in the middle of a new phase of your life where you are much more stable in who you are and where you understand your emotional needs and you're able to meet them. And that way you can attract people into your life who also have their needs met and they're also people who are emotionally healthy. Because right now it seems like 2 people who are very wounded who are attracted to each other because of their wounds. Because notice how you had... It was the classic case of like one person not knowing how to, for example, mother themselves, right? And then they latch on to a person who they believe can nurture them, who can provide them with that kind of unconditional love, instead of remembering and discovering how they can provide that for themselves. And with this 4 of Swords, you also need a mental break from this person. I think that this connection causes a lot of anguish, a lot of stress, because it seems like, and I feel like you see each other on a day-to-day basis is something else, and I think it causes you a lot of just like stress, and you need a break from them. You need to be able, Spirit really wants you to take time alone so you can get even deeper into this process of like mothering yourself, because I think it's hard for you to do that again when you're constantly seeing this person. And same for them. It seems like releasing this person will be very beneficial for the both of you, but I almost feel like, I mean, this reading isn't for your person, so it's like, it makes sense that, you know, spirit, these are your spirit guides asking you to release this person. And if your person saw a reading, maybe for them, I mean, maybe their spirit guides would say the same thing, like, hey, you need to release this person. But it seems like it'd be very beneficial for the both of you. But now we're gonna see how you can release this person. Spirit, how can pile 1 release their person? What is that going to look like for them? How can pile 1 release this mother person? I feel like taking this card. Oh, the Devil. Okay. Which is interesting because, okay, the 3 of Pentacles. That's interesting you got the Devil because it's associated with the sign Capricorn, and Capricorn is typically associated with, like, the father archetype. Let's get clarification for the Devil. How can pile 1 release this person? The King of Swords. What about the 3 of Pentacles? The 3 of Pentacles. Can we get clarification for that card? The King of Wands. Okay. Wow, we have so many kings. Earlier we had the King of Cups. What about the 10 of Pentacles, or 10 of Cups, Spirit? Can we get clarification for that 10 of Cups? The Tower. Wow. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Yes. One thing that Spirit wants you to know is you have to accept, this is gonna, this is gonna suck, but, you have to accept that sometimes in order to get this, like, to receive what it is that you want to receive, you have to go through this purging process that's actually, it can be quite painful. The Tower here, it typically is. But it's mainly because you need to release a lot of stuff, and usually it's like our attachment to those things that makes it difficult, right? For example, if you want a partner who loves you and who is who gives you what you need, and it's a healthy, mutually flowing connection, and let's say you're already in a relationship, you might have to release the person that isn't treating you right in order to receive the person who is. Does that make sense? Or, like, let's say you want a job that pays you well, that doesn't overwork you, where you like your coworkers, but you're currently in a job that's like ass and that's just terrible and you hate it. How can Spirit give you the new job if you're still in your old one? And even if the new one presents itself, there is still a process of, like, pain and grieving that happens when you leave an old job. I mean, it might not be that extreme for some people, but sometimes it is, right? And with the 10 of Cups in the Tower here, it's like, oh, also this is Aries and Scorpio with the planet Mars. But the 10 of Cups talks about that happy ending. It talks about a really beautiful situation. Oh, wow. Also, it typically talks about the family too, but, like, specifically, like, a very harmonious family, a family where there's a lot of love, there's peace, everything seems really beautiful, and there's an emotional connection there. It's not like a overly possessive family dynamic. It's not one that's void of emotion. It's a really beautiful, harmonious family dynamic, or relationships in general, right? Feeling very emotionally content with where you're at. And I almost feel like, oh, interesting that this person's falling. It almost looks like they're falling from the 10 of Cups. Okay. But I think the overarching message, though, is definitely that how you're going to release this person. Well, first of all, let me start here. I don't know why I went straight here. First of all, with this Devil and King of Swords, I just heard take a no bullshit approach. That might be what the problem is for some of you, or maybe even for your person. Your person might try to manipulate you a lot. They might try to reel you back in by making you distrust yourself, by making you feel like you don't have the ability to make decisions for yourself, that you always have to consult them, that you always have to talk to them first, you have to stay close to them. And that might be how they keep their hold over you. And I'm getting this vibe that you need to put your foot down and be very clear with them and set your boundaries and say, like you have to take control over your life again, which might sound counterintuitive to the message we already had, which is that, you know, you're learning how to mother yourself. But, like, have you ever seen a mother try to defend their child? Like there's not, the energy that you're being asked to step into isn't like this super soft, like, just sensitive, like, bubble. Like, it is those things, being soft with yourself, being patient with yourself, but it's also putting your foot down and setting hard boundaries with people who try to take you away from your inner self. You know what I mean? And I think you're being asked to, also for some of you, it would be helpful to create like a plan for yourself, to create like a schedule for you that can keep you accountable when it comes to just life in general. That was like very specific though, and I don't know who that was for. I say that because the King of Swords and the Three of Pentacles here makes me feel like it would be helpful if you had some sort of routine that you could rely on. Or it doesn't have to be like a rigid routine. It could also just be a routine where you hold yourself accountable to different like self-care practices you're trying to incorporate, or different like healthy coping mechanisms that you have. It might be useful to create some sort of routine or, you know, schedule where you're able to actually implement those things regularly, right? But I also feel like just the devil here does talk about that shadow side. It talks about being chained to people, to substances, to behaviors, and how it gives us a false sense of security. It gives us a false sense of luxury and wealth. And I think you're starting to see that now. And the most important step that you take is to really be firm with this person and cut that tie, cut that chain. I keep getting an image of like this sword, like cutting a chain or cutting like a rope or something. Whatever tie you have to that person, it's important that you cut that. I think this might be a situation where going no contact might be a big an important step. We have the Two of Swords on the back of the deck. Yeah, followed by the Ten of Wands and the Nine of Wands. Okay, yeah, I do get this vibe that maybe going no contact, at least for a brief period of time, would be useful. Because I do feel like that would be a difficult decision for you, and it might be tough. But I think it would be useful for you, at least for a couple of weeks or something, if you can, and if you want to. If that's not something you're interested in, then you can discard that message. But I think for those of you where this connection is too hostile, too difficult, and you have the ability to step away, then you should do so. But of course, do whatever's in your highest good. Sometimes even if you want to step away, it might be difficult. Like let's say you're a minor or something, and this is your parent, that gets tough. But if you need outside support, like for example, if this is like a connection or a situation where the aggression is like physical, or it's like very serious verbal emotional abuse, and you need support, I recommend that you reach out for support and that you receive that, because that's important, that you're safe. And if this is just a connection where there's hostility here, but it's not to the point where you need to go no contact, then, you know, don't go no contact. You know your situation better. And with this Three of Pentacles and King of Wands, and even now when I'm looking at these two cards, I wonder if this is in some ways representative of the two of you, you and the mother person. But I also just kind of feel like with this Three of Pentacles and King of Wands that this, again, is Spirit saying, like, if you need support, you look out for it, reach out for it. I almost feel like with this King of Wands person, there could be somebody in your life. They could be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, someone that you view to be a leader, someone who carries a lot of charisma and passion, and they're an excellent leader. And they might have wisdom or guidance for you when it comes to this. This could also be like, I want to get a clarifier for that. This King of Wands spirit. Who is this King of Wands person or energy? The Fool. And then the Six of Cups in the back of the deck. Okay. This is also Aquarius energy. For some of you, I'm getting a vibe too. I'm going to say this, but again, take these only as they resonate, right? But for some of you, I could see how this message could also come through as, you know, putting your foot down, setting those boundaries, and really cutting that rope that has been creating this attachment to the other person that isn't healthy. And from there, being able to embark on a new beginning within this connection where the old foundation has broken apart, where you guys have kind of completely disintegrated the old habits and behaviors that occurred between you two, and are building a new connection. And while you're building this new connection, I feel like this King of Wands energy is Spirit asking you to step into an energy where you are brave and you're speaking your mind, but you're also, and you're kind and you're loving, but you're not letting the other person, your person, kind of stomp all over you or say that you are, you know, you're not allowed to make that kind of boundary or whatever. Like Spirit's saying you can compromise with this person, but at the same time, don't compromise your own beliefs and values. You know what I mean? Like set those boundaries, and also be willing to hear the other person out. And, but for others, and you'll know if that's your message or not. You'll know based on the nature of your connection, as well as how you feel while you're hearing this. But for others, I think still with this Fool card, it's meant, there is some sort of new beginning here, but this could be a new person coming into your life, or like if this King of Wands is another person that you're being asked to reach out to and receive assistance from, I feel like I'm not understanding, Spirit. I'm getting too many messages. How can this person release, how can pile 1 release their person? Okay. Okay, yeah. This is mainly, you're being asked to essentially, yes, cut that cord, right? And allow yourself to step into the newness that is following after you cut this cord with this person. Because remember that your energy was represented by the dilettante. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's a card that represents somebody who is like indulging in life, who is trying out a bunch of new things, who's just seeing where things take them, right? And Spirit's basically saying, like, keep doing that, keep being that student, keep learning. And also be sure of yourself as you do so. You don't have to pretend you're a professional. You don't have to pretend that you're perfect at it. Not that there's, you don't have to pretend to be something you're not. Continue doing these playful things that you're doing. Continue trying out different ways to take care of yourself, different ways to express yourself and have fun. That creative energy is beautiful. And also take a leap of faith if there is something that you are wanting to try out, but you're scared you're not going to be good for it or good enough for it. Like, I think you should try it out. And ultimately, I think that there is good that's going to come out of this whole situation while you're healing, while you're taking care of yourself, learning how to mother yourself. With the 10 of Cups here, even though the Tower is there clarifying it, I'm seeing this as a very clear indication that, like, although the old structure is going to fall, and although this connection is either going to end completely or the nature of it will change, because for some of you, remember, you are setting those boundaries and then kind of having a new beginning within the connection, but it's like completely different now because you're really staying firm in who you are and in your boundaries. But regardless of whether you're the group that's cutting them off completely or changing the nature of the relationship, the old version of that is falling away. And it's going to be painful because remember, with this Devil card here, it's not just that you're chained to this person. There's deep wounds here. You and this person support each other and fill voids is kind of how I'm seeing it. It's like you want to feel mothered, so you attach yourself to them. And I think they feel dependent on you. I think they like feeling like they have almost control over a person. And I still feel like they attach their worth to you in some way. And I think that's why they get triggered when you try to do things on your own. It's almost like taking a jab at their ego. And so it's going to be painful to walk away from this. And I think that's why the King of Swords came out. It's like, we get it. Like, yes, it's going to be painful, that you do have to put your foot down still because you know that this is not right. You know that how you're being treated is not right. And when that all falls away, this 10 of Cups is like so beautiful. It's such a nice card. Like, you're going to find connections that really fulfill you. Again, it could be with this person for those of you where there is the potential to work through things. But even then, even if this person, if you want to work through things with this person, you do have to still be serious about how you were harmed in this connection, how you could have harmed them, and also what boundaries you're setting with them. And you want to make sure that they're clear with you about what boundaries they're setting, because the way that this connection is currently playing out, it's really difficult for both of you to grow in this way. I feel like the only way forward is either for you to step away from this completely or for the connection to transform. And the reason, I also forgot to say, the reason why I said for some of you, there might be hope is with the 6 of Cups here. I kind of just feel like, I feel like for some that there is a potential for reconciliation, but not for all of you. I only feel like that's for some. I really don't feel like that's for all of you. For most of you, I feel like things, you need to just take a breather from this for as long as you feel like you need it. Okay, now for the big reveal. We're going to see the final piece of advice, final message Spirit has for you in regard to releasing this person. So the final message is, Yasigi, live out loud. Wow, number 31. Okay. This makes so much sense, pile one, because I do think that you are in a really beautiful process of self-discovery, of trying out new things, of living life in a really like fun and creative way. And again, it just seemed like your person kind of wanted to minimize that, wanted to dim your light a little bit. And Spirit's basically saying you are destined to be a very expressive, creative person. You are meant to explore different ways of self-expression, of creativity, of finding joy in your life. You're not meant to shut yourself into a box. Nobody is. But for you in particular, I think you're dipping your toes into different things and you're trying things out and seeing what you like best. And Spirit wants you to keep doing that, because I feel like you're either going to dawn on something really amazing and you're going to find an avenue of self-expression that you deeply resonate with, or this is simply just going to help you purge out other wounds, other pain in really creative ways. I feel like you really need to focus on yourself right now and just have as much fun as you can. Be brave, be bold, and not let anybody minimize that and keep you small, because you're breaking out of that smallness that you've kept yourself trapped in for a long time, and you're being applauded for that. And your advice is to continue doing that. And if there are people who get in the way of that, peace out, right? Yeah. Okay, so pile one, that is your reading. I'm going to be leaving this here for you. Thank you so much for watching this reading all the way through if you did, and I hope that this resonated. I hope it provided you with guidance, wisdom, advice. I hope that this provided something for you. And of course, remember that you have free will. You can do whatever you would like to do in this connection, as long as it's in your highest good is all I would hope for you. And yeah, if you would like to support me or my channel in any way, you can subscribe to my channel. You can leave a like or a comment. You can check out some of my other videos if you would like. But other than that, thank you again for being here and for watching this reading, and I hope to see you again here soon. Bye! Hi there, pile two. If you chose this piece of fire quartz and this oracle card, then this is going to be your reading on who you need to release. So this card is going to be the final card that we look at, and it's kind of like a piece of advice as well as just a final message from Spirit in regard to releasing this person. So we'll set that aside and look at it later. But we're going to first start off by looking at this connection between you and this person, your energy, and then this person's energy, and then we'll get into the tarot to see how you can release this person, as well as like any final information if I feel like we need like another tarot, like a card or two, in regard to just like the connection itself. So to start, for the connection, the energy is being represented by happy family and the ways of water with white willow. I'm going to take a look in the booklet for this card because every single time it leaves my mind, and there's always a very eloquent message for this, but so I'll take a look at that. But for your energy, you have the Lover. Wow, that's actually really weird because I had a feeling. I don't know why when I was shuffling these cards, I I was thinking about the different cards like in the deck, and the Lover, I thought of it and I was like, oh, that's such a sweet card. And now we have it. So the light attributes is great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. The shadow is obsessive passion that harms others, self-destructive devotion. We also have awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. And we have don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? You got two of these cards. And then you also have beauty. Oh, very cute. Okay. And for your person, we have the Martyr. Immediately I thought of Pisces. Yeah, okay. We have learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. The shadow is addiction to self-pity. Boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? And finally, pay attention to signs. Okay, speaking of signs, any numbers here? We have a number 10, 17, which reduces to an 8, and a 4. Those numbers could be significant, but they don't have to. Oh my goodness, I can't. Okay, so let me take a look in the booklet for this card here. Where is the booklet? The Ways of Water with White Willow. Most people think of willow as graceful and soft, a beautiful tree with weak wood. She's happy to let you have your delusions, but underground she sends her expansive roots questing for water, the element of emotion, which feeds her extraordinary flexibility. Willow loves to dunk her feet, sampling the flow of feelings, tasting anger and joy, sorrow and sass. Pliancy allows her to have great empathy without becoming overwhelmed by the emotions of others. Instead, they flow through her like water. If you find yourself armoring up to handle high emotions, call on Willow to teach you the ways of water. When Willow appears, it's a reminder to let emotions flow through you. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is, although we have the happy family card, I do not sense family energy from this. I'm sensing like romantic partner or friend, but highly romantic partner. This seems like a romantic relationship, truthfully. I think the happy family card could be signifying the fact that in this connection, there's just a lot of love here. I think that maybe you have a family with this person. You could be family members in the sense that you're married, but I don't think that this is like a family connection, if that makes sense. But what's interesting is I feel like there's a lot of watery energy here. A lot of like, I just get water vibes. We do have a 4, which is Cancer. We have an 8, which is Scorpio. 10 is Capricorn, but you know, we have 2. And then this reminds me of Pisces. But I feel like you could be an Aries, which is really random, but you could be an Aries. But you don't have to be. Anyway, I do sense that this relationship has a lot of heightened emotions, really beautiful ones, but I also feel like, an issue within this connection is that both of you, in different ways, sacrifice yourselves for the other person. And I think it's in order to create this happy family dynamic, you feel like you have to minimize yourselves, you have to either give your all to the person or constantly shift yourself to fit what you think that they would want. I want to start with who do I want to start with? I could start with either, honestly, but I want to start with them, actually, with the martyr person. So this person is somebody who is a really loving person, very, very deeply loving. And when they love somebody, they go above and beyond for them. Let me see if this is all in the frame. It could be better. They're very, very loving, right? I think they want to do whatever they can to make the people around them feel comfortable. They really care about the people in their lives. Like, they're just really loving. The problem with this person, with your person, is that they sacrifice themselves in the process. So, like, a really minor example would be like, let's say your person is hungry and they want to go out to eat and they're really, really, really craving McDonald's, but you're thinking like, I want teriyaki. And even though maybe they hate teriyaki, maybe they really don't like it, or they're just not in the mood, they really want a burger, they might sacrifice their needs or their desires in that moment for you, type of thing. And in a more extreme example would be like, there are tons of extremer examples, but I think ultimately they lose themselves in connections. They lose their sense of identity. They lose their boundaries. Maybe they don't have any boundaries to begin with. It just seems like they're when they love someone, they forget to take care of themselves. They forget to take a step back and remember that they're allowed to say no. They're allowed to set those boundaries with people. And I think for you are also incredibly loving. And one thing that's interesting is like these two aren't even facing each other. Like, your face is kind of facing us, but like your bodies are like not paying attention. Like, you're kind of separate, which I think is interesting. And even the happy family card, it's like your backs it's facing us, right? And you are a really loving person too. I think you romanticize life a lot, and I almost feel like you're the kind of person who likes to have a lot of intense emotions. I think you like to feel things. Like, you're a very feely person. I don't think you like to be very logical about things. I feel like you let your heart guide you. You let your impulses guide you, is what it feels like. I also think you're a really beautiful person. I think you're probably like really pretty, like just a gorgeous person. But I also pulled the beauty card and the pay attention to sign cards as wounds, as things you need to heal, or things that that could be like wounds that are keeping you stuck in this connection, right? And I feel like with the fact that there's beauty here, makes me wonder if, although I can sense that you're a beautiful person, like you actually seem like almost like a goddess is how I would want to describe you if I could see your face. I obviously can't, but anyway, but what's interesting is I wonder if you don't see that, if you feel kind of, you might not see your beauty completely, and maybe you love so deeply because what I'm sensing for both of you, I don't know if I said this about you. Obviously, we can sense that they self-sacrifice, right? And for you, I think you overextend yourself as well. And I wonder if it's because you want to feel loved, you want to feel worthy, and you feel like if you constantly give out as much love as you can, that eventually it will be reciprocated. But something is changing within you, right? We have this awakening card, and also don't dim to fit in, right? I feel like you are, interesting that both of these are kind of floating. I do feel like you are growing and you are evolving and you're learning how to love yourself, your physical body in particular. I think you might have some insecurities around your face, around your body, around what you look like. And I think you're learning that you are inherently beautiful, like so beautiful, no matter what you look like and no matter whether you fit into conventional beauty standards or not. I think you're recognizing your beauty. You're gorgeous, right? And I think you're seeing that you don't have to minimize your needs as well in order to fit in. But what's interesting is I feel like you're both just such intuitive people. You're both very empathetic. I think you feel each other's feelings really often, and so because of that, you're able to pick up on each other's needs and stuff. And I feel like you both feed this feels very codependent. And usually in a codependent connection, there's sometimes, well, I don't know if it's all the time or if it's even often, but there's sometimes a dynamic where one person is constantly chasing the other and the other is kind of running away, but it's like that chaser runner dynamic. But I feel like for both of you, you both are like codependent towards each other. And I think you're both learning the lesson of like stepping into your true potentials, stepping into yourselves and not sacrificing yourselves for the other person. And what I think is so like interesting about this is like I don't think either of you like sacrifice yourselves intentionally. I just feel like that is how you express love. And as sweet as that sounds, as much as sometimes it's actually expected to sacrifice yourself, it's actually not the best thing to do because it leaves you empty a lot of the times. It leaves you feeling unfulfilled and it disconnects you with yourself and with your own boundaries because you're constantly crossing them in order to make the other person happy. And I also wonder too if you, part of how you kind of maybe betray yourself is, this is really specific actually. I don't think this will be for all of you, but for some of you, you might have changed the way that you look to specifically make this person like you more. I wonder if, like, let's say, I don't know. Oh, I just like in my head, I remembered, I don't know if who watches these videos or who will watch them also in the future, but I mean, this is timeless, right? But if you know who Jack Harlow is, and there's this thing called the chicken shop date. Anyway, it's like a YouTube comedy show thing, and he was on the show one time, and the girl who runs the show, I can't remember her name now, but she's like, do you like blondes? And he's like, no, she's like, what's your type? And he said, I like dark hair. And the girl's a blonde, and she was like, oh, like, like, you know, whatever. And so I wonder if you dyed your hair or did something to change your physical appearance because this person said that they like that. And if they did, I don't, you trust what happened, of course, but I don't feel like they on purpose want you to change what you look like. If anything, I think they want to give to you endlessly and you want to give to them endlessly. And I think it's because you're fueled by so much passion and love for each other that you would go to the ends of the earth for one another. And again, as like sweet as that sounds, it's not healthy. And I feel like that might be difficult to hear. That might actually almost for some of you piss you off a little bit because you're like, oh, but I love this person. And that's fine. But it seems like you I almost feel like this happy family card makes me think this is how people see you and your person. People might see you both as like a really beautiful, like cute couple, really just like gorgeous, like you know each other so well. Even your colors are similar, red and pink. People might see you two as like a really beautiful couple, right? And in some ways you are. You love each other very deeply. But again, the problem here is that there's just self-sacrificing here. There's changing who you are in order to make the other person like you more and betraying yourself in the process. And I think both of you actually are growing and are noticing some of how these patterns aren't the best. For you, I think you're experiencing a spiritual awakening. I think you're realizing that like you are more than just your body, you're more than just your physical self, and that there are other parts of you that are also just as lovable as your physical human self. And I think for them, honestly, this makes me feel like they are noticing, they're starting to notice how martyring themselves, betraying themselves isn't normal and it's not good for them. And I think they're learning how to set better boundaries. I think it's hard for them, but I feel like they're doing it slowly but surely. And honestly, I don't know how you feel about that. I'm not sure if you're happy with the fact that they're kind of pulling back a little bit. Part of me feels like you might not like that because with your shadow, we have obsessive passion that harms others. And for them, they have addiction to self-pity, right? So their shadow is more of like a victim consciousness kind of thing. And for you, it's more of like I feel like you in some ways you might be upset that they're kind of pulling away. And in fact, it might make you want to shower them with affection more. I also feel like with this Ways of Water card too, that maybe you both come off to other people as very delicate, very sweet, very sensitive, but you do both have a lot of passion. And like, I sense a lot of fire and water energy from this collective. There was something also that I wanted to say when I was reading this. There was a way that it was worded, but I totally forgot to say it. What was it? Yes, pliancy allows her to have great empathy without becoming overwhelmed by the emotions of others. Instead, they flow through her like water. And that is kind of not what I'm seeing here, right? I think one thing this connection is supposed to teach you both is that you can have great empathy and love for other people without letting it consume you and without taking on the burden of healing that person. That's a lesson that you're both learning, and I think you're learning it with each other. I wonder if you've already learned it with these two cards here, or I guess all these three cards. I feel like you both are realizing how the dynamic within this connection isn't the healthiest and that there's work to be done both within this connection as well as separately. There's a lot of healing that needs to happen here, a lot of like work around your self-worth and your the way that you set boundaries and create a barrier between how much like emotional labor you're going to be doing for the people around you, right? Because right now I think that you both can get overwhelmed with one another, right? And I think that there's this constant like, how do I please the other person? How do I make them happier? How do I do this? How do I do that? And if anything, I could see that you might be a bit more restrictive to them. But I feel like they're just as tied to you in an unhealthy way that you are to them. I think you just show it in different ways. Yeah. Now we're gonna get into tarot and see. What's interesting though is you both have very lovely energy. I will say that. Like it seems like you're two people who want to be loved and have love to give, and you're trying your best to share that. It's just coming out in a way that kind of disadvantages you both, disempowers you both. But you do both seem like good people, like kind people. But now we're gonna get into the tarot. Spirit, is there anything else you want to say to this collective before we get into how they can release them? I suppose one thing I want to ask that I would like clarity on for this collective, maybe you guys want it too, is like, okay, I guess, Spirit, anything else you want to say about this connection before we see how they can release them? Any other information you want to provide in regards to the connection? Just gonna get one card for this part. The Seven of Cups. Okay. Back of the deck is the Four of Pentacles. Interesting. I wonder if you're trying to create some sort of stability within this connection, but it's difficult to do so because, or I feel like you both want to stay in a committed connection. I think you don't want to lose each other, but at the same time, I feel like there's such, like, you're both disconnected from yourselves in an effort to connect with the other person. The Seven of Cups is a confusing card. In fact, I always associate this with Pisces, especially the planet Neptune. And I did sense that energy earlier. I feel like you are I think that both of you are confused on what your own needs are because you're so focused on fulfilling the other person's needs. And maybe that's why that answers my question. My question that I had earlier with like what I needed clarity on for this reading is like, why does this need to be released? Because not that this reading is like any of my business really, but I kind of felt like, is this a connection where things can still be salvaged, where you two could heal within this connection? And I think what Spirit's saying is like, sure, yeah, that's possible, but I think the problem, or the point is that you need to be comfortable being alone. I think you need to be comfortable not having someone around you to save, besides yourself, right? And I think that's why Spirit's asking you to release this person, is because you're really, really lost within yourself. And I don't know if you see it that way because you have a person in your life right now that you, because I feel like you're still together. I feel like you see each other often. Like, this seems like it's a pretty, like, lively connection. It doesn't seem like this is something that is no contact right now, right? And I feel like it's important that time is taken so that you can see what you feel like when you're alone, when you're not in a committed relationship like this. And I think when that happens, you're going to realize like, oh yeah, I'm very uncomfortable with this. I'm very uncomfortable in my own energy. I'm uncomfortable not having someone to worry about and constantly spend energy on, or money. And I think it's going to show you that you are more disconnected from yourself than you realize. And there's no shame in that. It happens to a lot of us. Spirit just wants you to be able to have that unconditional love for yourself that you were giving quite freely to this person, and that they're giving to you. But now we can see, Spirit, can we see how pile 2 can release their person? This person, the martyr person. That was a terrible shuffle. Spirit, how can pile 2 release this person? The 3 of Cups. How can pile 2 release this person? The Ace of Cups. Again, all that watery energy. I love water. As I drink a Red Bull. Okay. How else can pile 2 release this person? One thing that's interesting too is the King of Pentacles. Is this reading is coming out really, really easily, which kind of makes sense with all the watery energy. I find that when I channel messages that are either for fire or for air signs specifically, or it's for it has a lot of water energy, that is really easy to channel. Air, that might sound random. I think it's because I have an air moon and I have a lot of air and fire in my chart. Not that matters. Anyway, okay. Can we get clarification for this 3 of Cups, please? The 3 of Pentacles. What about this Ace of Cups? Oh gosh. The Knight of Cups. What about this King of Pentacles? The King of Wands. Okay. Back of the deck is the Page of Cups. Okay. So how can pile 2 release this person? Oh, 2 kings. That's interesting. And 2 threes. Pile 1 also had a lot of kings. I don't know what's up with them today, but they just all want to come out. But, okay. Anyway, how can you release this person? Where should we start? The first one I think is with this 3 of Cups and 3 of Pentacles, right? The first immediate thing that I'm getting is I think you're going to need support around you when you do this. And I think, again, it's because there is this sense of, like, having, I think, like when I was saying earlier when we had that 7 of Cups that you need to get comfortable being alone, that does not mean self-isolation. That does not mean you cut off contact with the entire world. But it does mean that I think you need to step away from this particular connection because it's very intensely and heavily fueling this codependent behavior that you're needing to work through, right? Because the 3 of Cups talks about friendship, beautiful friendships, and the 3 of Pentacles again talks about like coworkers, teamwork, collaboration. And I think that how you can release this person is supporting you or support yourself, pile 2, with people that not only do you connect with emotionally, not only do they understand you, not only do they make space for you and time for you, and you can have fun with them, but they are also people that really help you stay grounded. They are people who really help you work through these issues that you're experiencing. And I feel like specifically, Spirit is asking you to make time for people who are also solid in themselves, okay? It's important at this time that you're intentional with who you share your energy with, and I think it would be very beneficial for you as you're stepping away from this person, this martyr person, that you spend time with people who are also who have strong boundaries, people who are independent but also can share love with others, you know, people who have really worked through a lot of these wounds already. It would be helpful for you to spend time with them to see, like, okay, one thing in particular is I think you should pay attention to their language, how they talk about themselves and how they talk about their boundaries, right? So, like, let's say you have a friend that you're deciding to spend more time with and you ask them, like, hey, do you want to get McDonald's? And maybe they're just like, you know what, I'm not really feeling like that. I think I would rather have like Chipotle, or do you want to go to Taco Bell instead, or do you want to get teriyaki? And or like whatever it is, I think paying attention to how they word things would help you, because maybe one thing that you struggle with is simply finding the words. Funny I'm even talking about that because we have no air in this reading. Even the back of the deck is the Page of Cups, right? There isn't any air. There's no swords here, which tells me that the logic... Remember earlier I said that you are a very emotion-based person. You don't like to think logically. There we go. We have it again, right? I think you're so used to just following your heart. You're used to just doing whatever you feel like will fill you up emotionally the most, which is fine. I think you might struggle with speaking your truth, with setting boundaries vocally, right? Or verbally, whatever the fuck, same thing. And I think that spending time with people who can do that and kind of listening to how they word things and talking to them about these kinds of things would be really useful, because these are people that you not only have a deep emotional connection to, but they're also grounded. So they're people that you can, like, they're the kinds of people where I think if you wanted to vent to them about something, about this connection, for example, and they are just swamped, they need to rest, they need time for themselves, they'll tell you. They'll be like, hey, you know what, like, I love you, I do want to talk to you about this, but I need time for myself tonight. Like, they'll set a boundary like that, and that might come as a shocker to you. Some of you might be, especially if you've kind of spent a lot of time with this martyr person, it might make you a bit uncomfortable or fearful when people set boundaries with you. But please know that setting boundaries is actually one of the best ways to maintain relationships, because it's really important that you take care of yourself as well as care and love the people in your life, right? So that's the first thing that would really help you with this connection. And with the Ace of Cups and Knight of Cups, this is kind of spicy, but also interesting. I want a clarifier because I don't know if this is what I think it means. Spirit, with these 4 cards here, or I guess with the King of Pentacles and King of Wands, can I get a clarifier for that? What is that? What is this about? Is this what I think it means? The Empress. Oh gosh. Okay. Wow. Venus. So Taurus and Libra placements could be significant. Love that. It's also the only major arcana that we have. And back of the deck, oh, which Libra is an air sign, so there you go, some air energy. Anyway, okay, the Empress. Okay, so I feel like what this is basically saying to you is, yeah, this next phase of your life where you're letting go of this person is all about really strengthening your own, how do I say, learning how to protect yourself more, learning how to really value the person that you are, and also I feel like you are, what's interesting, and I love this, and I think it's because you are just a very loving person in nature, is that you're not losing that really loving part of yourself. If anything, I actually feel like you're going to be doing more of the things that you love. For some reason, see, when I said that, I was thinking of like activities and such, but then in my mind I thought of like doing a person. Maybe that's one thing. Maybe you're exploring your sexuality more too. We do have the Empress, and also what I was thinking earlier with the Ace and the Knight facing these 2 kings, I kind of feel like for some of you, you might be like playfully looking for other people, but honestly, I don't think that's what the message is, just because I do feel like Spirit wants you to take time for yourself. But I also feel like you're not losing that loving side of you, and you're not losing that heart-led part of yourself either. I do feel like you're seeing, Spirit, okay, I'm also getting this message too that your person is going to be very understanding when you 2 separate or take time apart. But can I get a card to clarify that, Spirit? Is that, how is their person going to react? That's too many. How is pile 2's person going to react when they take time for themselves, when they step away from this connection? How is pile 2's person, okay, we're gonna take both of those. I'm getting this vibe of like, they're very understanding and patient with you, and they're like okay with you taking time for yourself. I almost feel like it might be mutual. And the reason why I say that is because I'm getting this vibe that you're really happy when you take time for yourself. Like, yeah, you might be sad, you might grieve this a little bit, actually probably a lot, but I feel like you're also very quick to like jump into, like, you're letting your heart lead you into really like these beautiful new beginnings. I'm seeing like somebody going out in public more, going shopping, spending more time in gardens specifically is like something I'm looking at. I'm seeing also like somebody indulging more in just their day-to-day life, but in like in healthy ways. And I think it's because it's like what your soul needs. Like, you're really wanting to just indulge in yourself more, have more fun, treat yourself like the freaking, remember I said you seem like a goddess also? You also have the Empress. Last thing I want to say there. And with this King of Pentacles and King of Wands, I feel like, and the fact that we have the Empress to clarify that, it seems to me like, again, you're just finding ways now to ground yourself and to ground that very, how do I say this? I'm gonna look at these cards in a moment, but it's like, because the King of Pentacles plus the Empress is kind of the vibe that I'm getting for, as in like who you're stepping into, right? But I also kind of feel like, again, I just feel like you're not losing that really passionate, creative side of yourself. If anything, I feel like you're leaning more into it, just in a way that actually honors you and not in a way that depletes you and has you sacrificing yourself for another person. But for how your person's going to react, we have the Hermit and we have the Four of Swords. Okay, so Virgo energy here. So your person, yeah, I feel like they might, I think they're recognizing that taking time away is what's best for both of you. And what they're actually going to be doing when this happens is they're just going to spend some time alone. They're spending time with themselves. They're kind of doing what you're doing, but in a more isolated way. They're really, I think, unpacking what even led to this connection being what it was. They're unpacking why they behave the way that they do, where does this stem from, and they're really taking time to rest. I think this person has also lost a touch with themselves, and they've forgotten, I think maybe they never really had a chance to discover what it feels like to have healthy love. I feel like this person has always been in connections where they sacrifice themselves. And I think they're really exploring that. I think they're looking back at their past, especially their childhood, to see like, when did this begin? Why do I behave this way in relationships? And I feel like they might take it a bit difficult, in the sense of like, I think being alone will be hard for them. I almost feel like they might not have as many friends or family or people to relate to when you step away. But I also feel like, I think they need this time though to really discover what's going on internally for them. And for you, it just seems like you're stepping back in with yourself and with your community, and you are experiencing life in a way that is still just as fulfilling, just as exciting, just as loving, and emotionally fulfilling especially, but you're now centering your own pleasure and your own experience in that, as instead of the other person. And I feel like you're going to become so much more stable and so much more like sure of yourself, and also much more like in control and in charge. It seems like you're protecting your loving energy more. I feel like you're going to be protecting your heart more, because you know how much you're willing to give, and you are learning that, one, that's a gift, like it's a beautiful thing to be so giving, but it also could be taken advantage of sometimes. And I think the fact that you're grounding yourself in your body, and you're setting boundaries, and you're learning to just kind of allow life to flow through you more, and to allow yourself to experience excitement and abundance and like sensual shit. Like, you seem like you're gonna be a lot more sensual. That is something that I think that's going to be happening, but I think it's also something you should consider doing intentionally as well. Like, doing things that make you feel more free, that ground you, that allow you to indulge, that allow you to experience life much more deeply than before. The Empress is also a number 3, so we have another number 3 here. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. I feel like that was kind of just pile 1 and your pile have been kind of I don't know, kind of, to me, a bit unclear in terms of the tarot, but I also trust that the message that needed to come out will be received. So we're going to finish off by looking at this card here to see that final piece of advice, final message that Spirit has for you in terms of releasing this person. So for you, we have Mom Lambo with self-sabotage. Okay. So self-sabotage. Okay. Spirit is wanting me to talk about how self-sabotage is a sneaky thing in the sense that it doesn't always happen in the way that you think. And I think this is a message that both you and your person need to hear. But I feel like what Spirit is wanting you to understand is that it would be helpful for you to see your connection with this martyr person in a different light. Instead of seeing it as a connection with two people loving each other unconditionally and just doing whatever they can to make the other person happy, Spirit wants you to shift that perspective and see it from like a bird's eye view. Because from your perspectives, yes, it seems like it's super, super loving, but from a bird's eye view, it's clear that what's happening is there are two people who are not grounded within themselves, who are giving unconditionally in order to keep a connection, to maintain a connection, but what they're doing is they're sabotaging themselves, right? Ultimately, when we sacrifice ourselves for other people, when we give unconditionally to the point where we're depleted, where we're losing resources, where we are losing touch with ourselves, as it is ultimately self-sabotage, right? And I think it's interesting that there's an image here of like shedding your skin. Well, it's a snake. Well, it's a person snake. But I also feel like murky waters is another thing that is significant here. I feel like both you and your person, especially your person, but you too, there's I think this connection is triggering something for the both of you. It's triggering the fact that, like, I think this is probably the first connection where you two have both seen very clearly that this unconditionally loving, self-sabotaging energy is not useful. Because maybe before it's gotten you what you needed, it made you feel safe, and so you were willing to continue sacrificing yourself, maybe even out of fear. So you continued sacrificing yourself, but then when you ended up realizing with this connection is that ultimately you started to outgrow it, and ultimately you've noticed how it's harming you and also the other person in the process too. So shifting your perspective and remembering that although it might feel nice in the moment to sacrifice yourself for another person, when you do it repetitively and without any concern for yourself, it is self-sabotage. And Spirit wants you to see it that way because they want you to grow. They want you to transform, to shed your skin, and to be more abundant and firm in who you are. You know what's funny? I've been thinking about snakes a lot because I can't say it though. It's so gross. Oh my god. But anyway, one thing that I was thinking about was like, do snakes have skeletons? Because I was like, how the hell, like they slither and shit, but do they have like a skeleton? Do they have bones? Which is silly because I feel like they probably do, but I actually don't know. I mean, the reason why I said that is because I almost feel like, and I hope this isn't like rude because this is never how I would put it when talking to somebody, but I keep, like when I was looking at this more, I got like the phrase, you know how people say like, oh, you know, they don't have a backbone? That's kind of the vibe that I get here is like you don't feel secure in yourself and neither does your person. And so there's this constant giving energy, but ultimately it is self-sabotage. So pile 2. I'm going to be leaving your reading here. Thank you so much for watching this reading all the way through. If you did, I left my sweat on the table. Ew. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this reading all the way through. If you did, I sincerely hope that this provided you with comfort and guidance and wisdom. I wish you the best of luck within this connection, within your journey of self-love, of grounding yourself, of discovering what truly lights you up. And yeah, if you would like to support my channel in any way, you are free to subscribe to my channel. You're more than welcome to like this video, leave a comment. You can check out some of my other readings that I have on my channel as well. And again, thank you so much for watching this reading, and I hope to see you again here soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 3. If you chose this piece of Lapis Lazuli and this oracle card, then this is going to be your reading on who you need to release. So this card that you picked here is actually going to be the card we look at all the way at the end, and this is essentially your final piece of advice and the final message that Spirit has for you in regard to releasing this person. So we're going to set this card aside for now, and we're going to look at this connection between you and this person, your energy, as well as the person that Spirit is asking for you to release. I will say, I haven't seen any of these cards yet, but I but I went upstairs to grab my water bottle, and I got this message of like, maybe, well, I was thinking about pile 2, and then I was thinking like pile 3, I don't know what the message is going to be yet, but for some of you, it might not even be that you need to release this person completely. It might be that you need to loosen your grip, is like the way that it was put to me. Like, you need to give this person some space, or give yourself some space from this connection, and just kind of loosen your grip around it. But let's see what this connection is. What is the energy within this connection? Wow. Okay, you know what's okay? First chakra, Archangel Michael. First chakra, this is the root chakra. I have meditation music playing when I shuffle these cards to prepare for each reading, and for some reason, funny that this card came out, but I kept saying this affirmation in my head, and the affirmation is I am a mountain, and that is an affirmation that I heard in a root chakra meditation like 2 weeks ago or something, and I was like, damn, I love that. I'm a mountain. Like, that actually is very grounding and stabilizing, and it's crazy that you got this card. Wow. Okay, you also have clear the way with sage. And then for your energy, we have the guide. The light attribute represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. And the shadow places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. You also have warrior woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? Ooh. Wow. Okay. You also have dreams. Oh my gosh. Pile 3. Oh, and you have the Lapis Lazuli too. This is crazy. You could have some pretty intense psychic gifts, or be very intuitive, and that could be something you're realizing recently. But that's one thing that immediately is coming through. And then for your person, we have dilettante. Very bizarre. Pile 1 got this card and this card in their reading too. And for the light attribute for your person is delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. And the shadow is pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. And priestess, oh my gosh, how are you being called to step up and lead? Wow. And then they also have victim consciousness. Pile 1 also got this card. In fact, it was these 2 cards together, but on a different side. What the heck? Are you from pile 1? I don't even remember what pile 1's reading was, actually. I kind of remember. That's really bizarre. 3 of these cards showed up in their reading, and you have them. Very interesting. And there's also 2 number 3s here, which is another thing. I actually mentioned the significance of the number 3 in pile 1's reading too. I said, I was talking about the Hecate, the goddess Hecate, and her 3 forms, the mother, the maiden, and the crone. And interesting that you got 1 pretty psychic, spiritual, divine cards, as well as the number 3 2 times. Okay, so what is going on in this connection? First of all, you 2 are so powerful. You individually, as well as in this connection, like, you 2 are quite powerful people. I just wanted to start off with that. The second thing I want to say is that this connection, I think, is one that it could fall on 2 ends of a spectrum. On the one hand, I think this connection could be incredibly grounding for the both of you. And it is a very stable connection in your life. One that you might have had for a really long time and you're not really wanting to let go of. And the other situation is that I think this connection might be too grounding, to the point where it's not really grounding anymore. It's actually kind of suffocating and keeping you stuck and stagnant. Regardless, with clear the way here, it's clear that, that this connection, I think, is ultimately something here is being triggered within your root, within your sense of security and safety. Actually, this is quite similar to pile 1 in the sense that I think a common theme throughout the readings is that either one party or both parties they rely on this connection for support, for a sense of stability, for a sense of security. But because the connection is one that is either unhealthy or toxic, or, holding one back, ultimately it doesn't, it provides a false sense of security, not one that is actually genuinely secure and grounding and healthy. And I want to start with you, I think. because you, my friend, pile 3, you are very psychic. I keep feeling like you're just really psychic. You could have you could be clairvoyant specifically, or you could receive messages within your dreams, either about this connection or just in general. You can get signs and messages within your dreams. And I think that you are a very spiritual person. But I think one thing that you might struggle with is, again, like maybe your connection to planet Earth specifically. You might feel disconnected from your body. You might feel disconnected from your day-to-day life. And it might be hard for you. You might be a very daydreamy type of person. You might daydream a lot. And I think that recently you've been feeling this calling. You've been feeling this inner, like, feeling that you're missing something, that something needs to change, I think you've been wanting to be more courageous. It's almost like you've been feeling fidgety. I think you've been feeling fidgety and you've been wanting to, like, do something brave and exciting and adventurous, something that would fuel your soul and, like, actually, like, almost, like, light a fire under you. But for one reason or another, I think you haven't done it yet. But I also kind of feel like you have. No, I kind of feel like you haven't. I kind of feel like you've been getting messages. Maybe you could be like a tarot reader, for example. You could receive messages from spirit either, and you know that they're from spirit. But I think you've been having a difficult time following that guidance, and that could be because you don't feel too grounded in your body right now. You don't feel too grounded on Earth. And although you're excellent at receiving messages from spirit, at maybe as well as like deciphering messages. So for example, if you get messages in your dream, you might be very keen on understanding what they mean. Like you understand things intuitively, even if it wouldn't make sense to the next person. Like maybe one of like the things you receive in dreams is like you could get numbers in your dreams or like random images, but you know exactly what they mean. You know exactly what spirit is showing you. I think part of what Spirit's showing you is your true calling. I think you're being led somewhere, but there's fear here surrounding leaving what you already have. And what you already have, for one, is this connection. And I think you're afraid of stepping away from that, even though spiritually, you know that this is something you need to do. And for your person, they are also being called to step up and lead, right? They have the Priestess card. And I also feel like they were also pretty spiritual. Again, I get Pisces energy from this reading, but this person in particular, for you, I kind of get Cancer energy from you. You don't have to be a Cancer or a Pisces or any of those signs in order for this to be your reading. But for your person, I think they specifically... Okay, very specific message for your person. And I think if this is okay, whoa, I can't even speak. Your person might come from like a long line of psychics, witches, priests, priestesses, something in regard to like religion or spirituality, but I feel like they are currently not wanting anything to do with that. And no shame in that. It just seems like they're kind of preoccupied with like doing stuff that's fun for them, doing stuff that excites them. I feel like they're a quiet person, but they have a very unique and eccentric personality. And I think they're also very deeply intuitive, but for them, they have this victim consciousness card, right? And this card here and the dreams card, they're meant to represent the wound that's keeping your person as well as you kind of stuck in this connection, even though spirit is asking for you to step away from it. For them, they have this victim consciousness card. And this makes me feel like they might feel like a victim of their circumstances. They might feel like... It seems like they... this is really bizarre. Not like in a weird kind of way, but like in a... I feel like what I'm about to say is very specific, but it seems like this person could have wounds surrounding, not wounds per se, but like I think they don't want to follow whatever kind of spiritual or religious connotation is in their bloodline. But at the same time, they're drawn to you, I think, because of your spiritual gifts. I think they really like how intuitive you are, and I think they welcome it. But at the same time, this person might even latch onto you because of that. They might feel like they need your information, your guidance, your insight. because it's like they might feel like they have no direction in life. They might feel like they are just doing things to fill their time. It's almost like they might do things to distract them, and because it like almost matches their personality, no one bats an eye, or maybe they just don't have people to tell them like, hey, I don't know, maybe they just don't feel like it just seems like no one really questions this person. I don't know why that's really random, but it seems like no one ever really asks questions about why this person does what they do. It just sort of seems like, oh, that's them. And I think this person doesn't recognize that the same spiritual wisdom they're looking for you to give them, they could find themselves. And I think they have this underlying deeper fear that they don't have the ability to receive those messages themselves. I think one thing that would really help this person is developing a consistent spiritual routine, or something they do daily, or maybe even just weekly, to help them connect with their spirit. But I feel like they don't know where to start, and they feel like, I think they have this underlying self-pity going on, where they feel like nothing could ever go their way, or like they need to latch on to someone to give them insight that they can't find themselves. I hate to put it this way, but it kind of seems like this person is holding you back, because I feel like you're evolving, and I feel like you're getting ready to do something for yourself that's really exciting. It could be as something as simple as, like, for example, saying out loud, yes, I have psychic gifts, and claiming that, or saying, yeah, I am clairvoyant, or like, yeah, I read tarot, or whatever it is. Maybe it's something as like simple as that. I don't want to say simple, because if that is what it is, then it's not simple for you. It probably is something really intense, or it could be something more. I just feel like you're about to do something for yourself that's going to fuel you, but there's fear surrounding it, and you're working up the courage in order to do it. And for this person, I think they like the dynamic you have going on, but ultimately it's keeping them in a cycle of like, oh, I can't help myself, so I must ask pile 3, and I must receive their guidance. And ultimately, again, the connecting energy being the root chakra here, and sage with clear the way, it's like pile 3, one thing you need to work on, I think, that I almost feel like one thing, I'm looking at this again, like, one thing you need to work on, or one thing that's coming up here because of this connection and why the spirit wants you to release it, is because, again, like, the stability that this connection gives you, it's almost giving you an excuse to not follow your calling. It's almost like you tell yourself, like, oh, but this person needs me, and I'm providing insight to them. It's almost, and it may make you feel, it's like you're using your gifts and your guidance as an excuse to stay in a connection that you've outgrown, because it's familiar to you, even though you need to release it. And your person, they are kind of on the other side of that, where it's like, this connection makes me feel safe because I feel like I have almost unlimited access to knowledge, resources, information. And there's nothing wrong with using your gifts to give information and insight to other people. Nothing wrong with that. That's why we have our gifts, right? But your person has gifts too. I think they just don't think that they do have them. But what's interesting is I really feel like whoever this collective is, this honestly feels like this pile is a more specific one. I really feel like your person comes from a family line of healers, or psychics, or witches, or religious figures, so to speak. Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the tarot to get, I think I'm gonna get maybe one more card about this connection, to see anything else that spirit wants to say as to why it's important that you release this connection, and then we're gonna see how you can release this connection. So spirit, first let's see, wow, Cancer on the back of the deck, that's crazy. Oh my god, then the High Priestess, that's really weird. Okay, spirit, why does pile 3 need to release this connection? Can we get one more card? Any other information as to why they should release this connection? The 7 of Wands. Yeah. That kind of confirms what I said at the end there. I wasn't sure if that was for all of you, but with the Seven of Wands, it does add up. This person does hold you back, and I don't know if they're doing it intentionally, but it kind of feels like they do, in the sense that I think they really benefit from the wisdom that you provide for them, that you channel for them, and also just generally, like, I think you speak to their spirit. Like, I think you're just a very connected person. You're very connected to divinity, and I think they like that a lot. And but the thing is, you're growing, you're evolving. And if this person was growing with you, excellent. But it's clear, I think both you know, as well as spirit is showing you that this person isn't growing with you. They're kind of wanting to stay stuck in this energy that they're in. And what's interesting is the Seven of Wands is usually kind of an argumentative card, in the sense that it's like you having to defend yourself against others. But it does imply that one person, you, pile 3, you are, I don't want to say better than, because that's not quite what it is, but to some degree, you are like above the other person. And I don't mean like you're more worthy, you're more valuable, because everybody is equally worthy, equally valuable. But it's in the sense of like you're growing, you're becoming more you, and you're evolving, and the other person, your person, isn't. And it's important that you release what's holding you back, because it's really hard to grow when you hold on to things that one, remind you of your past, but also things that are, or people that are literally trying to hold you back. So that's that. And Spirit, let's also see how this person, or how pile 3 can release this person. How can they do that, Spirit? What is that going to look like for pile 3? Releasing this person. We have the Knight of Swords. How can pile 3 release this person? The Four of Swords. And then, what else, Spirit? The Six of Pentacles. Interesting. I'm going to need clarification for that Six of Pentacles. Okay. Spirit, don't you dare. The Artist is an extra card. I'm not going to... Actually, I'm going to take it. I'll just look at the book for it, because I kind of want to know. What about the Four of Swords? Can I get clarification for that Four of Swords? Please, and thank you. Clarification for the Four of Swords, please. The Three of Pentacles. This has come out in every fucking reading. What about the Knight of Swords? What about the Knight of Swords, Spirit, for how pile 3? The Eight of Cups. Oh, wow. Ace of Swords on the back of the deck. So remember how I said you could be clairvoyant? I also am sensing claircognizance. I feel like you're intellectually very connected to spirit, which is a weird way to say it, but I feel like you get your messages through your mind. Rather than like physical sensations or like in your emotional body. Like some people, like people who are clairsentient, they feel it, you know? People who are clairaudient, they hear it. But I feel like for you, it's either like an intuitive knowing, like you know something to be true, or I think you see visuals, like you see it in your head, either when you're like wide awake or when you're sleeping. And with this Ace of Swords here, I feel like there's information that could be coming through that is like Spirit, again, wants you to pay attention to the signs you're receiving in your dreams, any intuitive hits you're receiving, especially about this connection, but also about your general calling. Really pay attention to that and spend some time understanding what that means, because I feel like that is something that is also going to really help you stay true to the decision that you make or are making to walk away from this person, or that you might make. Who knows? You might not walk away from this person. I mean, it'll depend for all of you. I you know, but so let's see here. We're going to take a look about the Artist, because it's an extra card in this deck, and I read it a couple times as to what it means, but I don't remember, because I usually don't get it. It's only in this deck. So let's see what the Artist says. I mean, it is a major arcana though. So the Artist. The Artist is the vessel of creation. This card signifies humankind and shows when you need to open to the knowledge that is available if you stop and set aside the distractions of the human condition and listen. Wow. The Upright is visionary, interpreter, creation, passionate. Yeah, this is a very intuitive card. Yeah, this is a time where you're being asked to stop and observe, okay? To really observe what is what you're receiving intuitively from spirit. I feel like because you're so connected to spirit, you're going to notice spirit's presence while you're in this process, which is something that I think is unique to this pile. Some of the other ones, or the other ones, I didn't sense as much of a energy of like having a direct connection to spirit. But if I'm sure that there are people there who were very connected to spirit, but and conscious of that connection. But anyway, so the Knight of Swords and Eight of Cups, to me, to start off here, is spirit is saying, like, I just heard like bolts, like run the other way. But that's kind of what it is, because I think your heart, like emotionally, you know that this connection isn't giving you what you need, and you've outgrown it a bit, and it's time to move forward. But I almost feel like I honestly kind of feel like you're done with this connection. I don't actually feel like you are wanting to stay in it as much as the other person is. And I think that's why this Knight of Swords is showing up, because I kind of feel like, although you might feel some sort of like sadness about leaving this connection, I kind of feel like you're excited and you're ready to move forward. And you're really, really like running, like you're excited to leave, because I think it's because you know it intuitively that this is the right decision. And I think it's also because there's something else waiting for you. It's this calling, whatever it is that you've been feeling really lit up by, you know that that's there, and that's something that I think you're really excited to get into. And I kind of feel like this was happening with the Six of Pentacles and the Artist. For some of you, part of what you're doing, that calling, it could literally be being like sharing your gifts with the collective. And like maybe you've been wanting to open a business where you I don't know why I was gonna say Reiki, but maybe Reiki is something that you practice. You could be a therapist too. You could be a tarot reader. You could, read tea leaves. You could, I mean, there are lots of things, I think there are a lot of ways to practice divination. Or maybe you just want to get more into it and you feel like this connection holds you back. Whatever that calling is, I think it's something that you're spending a lot more time doing. And I'm seeing the Six of Pentacles in this context as clients, I hate using that word when it comes to like divination, but people who are exchanging energy with you, people who are working with you, who are wanting to receive guidance from you, to work with you in your own, and to like basically you utilizing your gifts and sharing your gifts with people in a very like in like a business type of sense. But I also feel like one thing that you're being asked to do as well is to slow down. I feel like the only time this Knight of Swords is significant here, the only times that this really quickly moving energy is present in this reading is when you're walking away. Because everything after that, I'm sensing a slowing down. I'm sensing really taking your time. And it makes sense because I feel like you're about to enter into a more quiet time in your life. And it might not even actually be quiet, but it feels like it. It feels like a slower paced life. And it feels like one where you're really connected to spirit. You might spend a lot of time meditating or get into like a meditation practice. But yeah, I think that spending, the Four of Swords is like right down in the middle with this Three of Pentacles, and taking time to rest and to allow the information you're receiving to simmer, especially if you are going to like seminars or conferences or you're reading a lot of books. It would be useful for you to allow your body to kind of rest and to almost like help you make sense of the information you're receiving. I almost feel like this is spirit saying like, again, that there are messages coming to you in your dreams, because the Four of Swords can talk about literal sleep and rest. And I wonder if this Three of Pentacles is more so signifying you like kind of sitting back and allowing information from spirit to come through you, and how it's important for you to rest and take time to slow down so that you can make sense of these messages and utilize them in your highest good. And with the Artist, again, that's kind of affirmed. Like, it's a time to be reflective and to really look at the big picture and to ground yourself and practice mindfulness throughout the day. I just feel like these are messages you already know, but I also feel like, this looks like a spider, kind of. Spiders, oh gosh. But because you are I also get Aquarius energy from this collective too, but you're somebody who I think has a lot of beautiful gifts, and I think that you're wanting to share them with people, and I think Spirit is also wanting you to share them with people, but I feel like the current vibe here for you, what Spirit is currently asking for you to do is to step away from this connection and to deepen your relationship with Spirit, because whatever you're being prepared for, I think it involves other people. I think it involves helping people heal themselves, and it's something that I think you're maybe just doing for the first time, or at least you're going to be doing it more often or something like that. And Spirit wants you to be almost prepared, and to have information present to you and to strengthen your connection with Spirit, so that when it comes to assisting other people, you understand yourself and your gifts in a better way so that you can help the collective. You could be light workers, you know? I really like, you also had the word guide, and so again, Spirit guides, like I feel like you're a very spiritual collective. Alrighty. So pile 3, we're going to finish off by looking at this piece of advice, your final message from Spirit in regard to releasing this person. So what we have there is Iset with surrender. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I do think that is what you're being asked to do, right? Like, I think that's confirming what we talked about earlier, where the only time there's any like intense movement is when you step away from this connection, you know? I also feel like you should be clear with your person as to why you're stepping away from them, right? The Knight of Swords is a communication card, right? I think it's important that you communicate to this person, like, hey, maybe we worked at one point, but now we don't, and it's important for me to walk away because of X, Y, and Z. And, you know, wish them good luck, and you go your separate ways, right? I think it's important that you communicate to this person. You don't have to coddle them, you don't have to, like, you know, do the most. It's just, I think you need I would think it would benefit you to be clear about why you're stepping away. And with surrender, this is basically Spirit saying your only real responsibility right now after you walk away from this person is just to let the universe bring you what you're meant to have, right? I think you have a really big mission ahead of you. Nothing to be scared of. Like, it doesn't feel scary. In fact, I think you're so connected and you've been getting so many like nudges about this thing that you already kind of know what it is, and I think you're quite prepared. Like I said, I do think that you're already kind of done with this connection. I don't think that you're really wanting it to stay in your life anymore anyway. And also 44. 4s are signs of like angelic guidance specifically, but I also just take it as like the universe holding your hand and being like, we got you. And yeah, Spirit's just saying, like, you know, relax, rest, surrender. There's no need to try to force things at this time, because I think what's coming to you is going to come to you. You know, I don't think that there's anything to force. And when you feel like you're forcing things, when you feel like you're trying to keep things stuck in a certain pattern, that is the time when you need to do journaling. Would be really helpful for you. Meditation, oh my gosh, I think meditation would really help this collective. I think it's something you probably already do a lot. And also make sure that you're resting, you're taking care of your body. It feels like you're preparing for something is what this seems like. And now is the time to rest before things pick up again. And you might even, maybe, yeah, all right, you might even know exactly what I'm talking about. For some of you, you know, like there's like something that's about to start. Like, I was thinking about how, like, I'm about to start school. And I know that there's a specific date, right? And I'm almost feeling like you know that there's a specific date that something's about to happen, or that you're going to launch something on a certain day or something like that. And so it's like, you know, you have a certain time frame before things really take off. But for others, you don't know when that time is. And I'm seeing divine timing. So for some of you, it might just be divine timing. When you're ready, when you have rejuvenated enough, things will start to really pick up for you. Okay. Wow, pile 3. This one was also quite easy to channel. Thank you so much for watching this reading. I'm going to be leaving it here. I hope that this resonated. I hope that it provided you with guidance, with support, with information, of course. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this reading all the way through, if you did. And if you would like to support my channel or me in any way, you can like this video, you can leave a comment down below telling me how it resonated if it did. You can subscribe to my channel and check out some of the other videos that I have posted. And yeah, again, thank you so much. I hope to see you again here soon, and have a wonderful day, night, evening. I was gonna say dream because y'all uh, like to dream. But yeah, thank you so much again and have a wonderful day. Bye.